Welcome to week 2 of our May breath and pranayama community. We continue to move into the heart of the yin half of the year. Can you believe next month it's already going to be solstice? And it does feel as though that autumnal drop has finally descended upon us. So this morning we're going to be working with techniques that really serve to, number one, give us that sense of internal atmosphere, but then more importantly, from that sense of internal containment, how are we able to align with apana vayu and assist that beautiful downward current, so that we are well and truly in our own internal autumnal space. But before we do anything, we need to just prepare a little bit as usual. So please, after your night with your head on your pillow, let's just do a little neck check, just gently moving through the head and the neck, articulating those joints and just noticing if there are any hot spots, any areas that feel a bit congested or tight. First thing in the morning, it is really important to get that lymph moving. And one of the vehicles, believe it or not, that really assists us with our lymphatic functioning is our tongue. So when you're ready, we're just going to set our eye gaze very still on a point in front of you. And it is important that your eyes are really still for this next maneuver. And please begin to draw some circles with the tip of your tongue along the insides of your lips. 10 slow circles one way, and then 10 slow circles the other way, keeping the eyes nice and still. And if you do have any vulnerabilities in your neck, this can show up in this technique as some difficulty or discomfort. If that is your experience, then know that you are definitely on the right track. Once you have finished your 20 circles in total, do another little check-in with the neck. If you've got stubborn neck tension, often you'll need to repeat that maneuver, sometimes several times. There's no rush. If you're still taking your tongue circles, please complete it nicely. All right. And moving now into a very simple salamander reset. So from wherever you are seated, whether that's in a chair or on the earth, we'll create a nice sense of lengthening through the spine and take a really gentle twist to the left. And then turn your head to the right. And keeping this shape as it is, lift your eye gaze up and to the left. And just allow your eyes to fall on a landmark in the room that you are able to gaze gently and steadily at, and hold that there. Keeping the breath moving and keeping the eyes nice and still. And gently releasing the eyes, releasing the head, and then releasing the spine from that rotation, taking it to the other side now, just making sure the spine is nice and long, so that as you twist your body to the right, we've distributed that rotation nicely across the whole spine, turning your head to the left and holding this exactly as it is, taking just your eye gaze up and to the right. Letting the eyes come to rest on something that you're able to just see in your peripheral vision. And holding this here Keeping the breath moving, holding the eyes nice and steady. And releasing your eye gaze, releasing your head, and then releasing the rest of the spine. We're moving now into SIMHASANA. So SIMHASANA is the gesture of the lion or lion's pose, but we're just going to be focusing on what's happening from the collarbones up. This is one of those more traditional techniques that has a lot of contemporary science now to back it up, and it does look completely unhinged. So I invite you to get into it with me now. We'll take a calm inhale through the nose, and as you exhale, really throw your tongue out. We're trying to stretch the tip of the tongue as far down toward the chin as you can, and stretch your eyes up toward your hairline as you go. So I've asked you to be unhinged. I'll go first. Here we are. And as you exhale through the mouth, invite a little bit of texture in the throat, invite a little bit of sound, and taking several rounds of this. Don't push the work in the throat to the point where you aggravate your throat, of course, although it's not unusual to stoke your coughing reflex whilst you are performing this maneuver. It's very normal, especially if you are recovering from a recent respiratory illness. And you might start to notice the body warming up. You might start to notice a little bit of increased blood flow in the jaw, the tongue, certainly in the throat. Good. And now we'll move into our JIVHA BANDHA. So please suction your tongue up against the roof of the mouth, the whole of the tongue, and then open the lower jaw slowly, just like this. Enjoy that lovely stretch in the frontal limb, and let the tongue click away when you're ready. And take several rounds. It often takes at least 1 or 2 repetitions for the body to just start to relax into whatever it is that we're doing. So there's lots of reasons why we perform multiple repetitions. If you're very familiar with your JIVHA BANDHA, which I know most of you are, then you can add another layer of subtlety as you open your mouth to its widest, having a play with the angle of the chin in space, a little bit like this. Taking some attention into those scalene muscles at the front of the neck, the platysma, hyoid, all of those delicate muscles that support the structures in the throat. Good. And now moving into our next preparatory technique. And this harkens back to what I was saying earlier about creating that sense of internal atmospheric pressure. We're going to be performing our VALSALVA maneuver. The VALSALVA maneuver can be performed with a focus in the head, in the chest, in the abdomen. I'm not going to tell you where to focus it this morning, but suffice to say, what we're looking for after inhale is making the attempt to exhale without letting the air move, so that all we do is increase that internal sense of space. So a little bit like this, taking an inhale and then bear down, or you can seal your nostrils and attempt to clear your ears. It's the same thing that you might do on an aeroplane if you're wanting the Valsalva to be more cranially focused up in the head, or the sensation of attempting to bear down as though you're going to the bathroom if you're wanting it to be more intra-abdominal and intrathoracic. Of course, no tension or strain, and take several rounds. Good. Taking just one more round when you're ready. And coming to settle in our reset breath now, please exhale slowly. Take your big inhale through the nose. Take your second top up nasal inhale. Let it out through the mouth. Nice and slow. Good. Again, big nasal inhale once. Second top up inhale. And let it out through the mouth. Take another 2 or 3 rounds of your reset breath. And when you are ready to arrive and to settle, bring your tongue once more to rest up against the palate. Allow the jaw to soften. Relax the shoulders and face as you come to meet your breath. Moving your breath very slowly and very smoothly in and out through the nose. Shining the spotlight of your awareness on the nostrils and connecting with the movement of the air. From an anatomical perspective, we are curious about the nostrils because that is where the breath is moving. And from a subtle energetic standpoint, we are very interested in the nostrils because they are our doorways, our access points into the nadi system. There's nothing to think about, nothing to do. Just breathing slowly through the nose and remaining attentive to the nostrils. You might notice the air entering the nostrils is quite cool. And the air as it exits the nose is a little bit warmer. Can you soften through the face and the shoulders a little bit more? And perhaps even subtly turning the corners of the mouth up, signaling to the nervous system that you are safe and settled. And when you are ready, begin to very gently invoke your Ujjayi technique with a soft and sweet hug of your windpipe toward the back of the throat. And as you narrow the aperture of the airway, becoming mindful of the texture and tone that the breath takes on. Aiming to create a sound and a sensation in your breath that is very smooth, very subtle, and distributing that sensation evenly across either side of the breath. Try not to rush the first part of the inhale or the exhale. Instead, allow that valve-like mechanism in the throat to assist you to control the speed of the breath. You might begin to notice how the textural quality of the ujjayi allows you to trace the shape of the breath as it moves in the lungs. Sipping and savoring the inhalation slowly as you draw it through the nostrils, across the top of the palate, and down into the base of the throat. Letting it fill and inflate the lungs in 3 dimensions. And allow the exhalation to be slow and smooth. Tongue resting against the roof of the mouth. With your awareness in the region of the lungs and the rib cage now, invite yourself to become curious as to the different quality of the inhale versus the exhale. The slow, smooth, swelling sensation of the inhale as the lungs gently inflate and expand. And the soothing, grounding, emptying feeling of the exhale as that breath is returned to the atmosphere. Please begin to notice now how long your breath is this morning, counting a few consecutive rounds of breath, focusing on the inhale. And once you have ascertained where the inhalation has landed, please bring your exhalation up to meet and to match it. Keeping count, either hearing the numbers in your internal dialogue or perhaps seeing the numbers flash up in your mind's eye. Keeping your count steady, rhythmic. Allow your mental energy to become anchored in the count. Stay with this. And when you are ready, shifting into your SAMA VRITTI 2, your box breathing pattern. Taking a pause after the inhale and another after the exhale. And keeping each of the 4 sides of the breath the same length. Noticing without any judgment if there are difficulties on any of those 4 sides of the breath. There is nothing to be done. Just observe. And noticing the difference between the qualities of each of those 4 breath sides. The rising and swelling of the inhalation. That space of contained internal atmosphere at the top of the inhale. The drop down and emptying of the exhalation. And that peaceful pause in that space after exhale. At the end of your next exhalation, setting that aside, allow your breath to return to its natural, quiet state. And observe where you are right now. We move now into a technique that is going to help to create more internal atmosphere. As I explained earlier, in order to align with the descending apanic energy of autumn, it is very useful to first establish an internal container through which to interface with that. And so this morning we're going to be moving into our little sips of air through the nose in a moment. And there is no ujjayi technique with this. In a moment, we'll begin to inflate the lungs to capacity with a sequence of little sips of air through the nostrils. How many sips of air? Well, that will depend on your capacity and how big those sips are. Suffice to say, you're going to take enough sips so that you feel you have really maximally inflated the lungs. And then take a brief pause and swallow. Make sure the tongue's against the roof of the mouth. I like to always lift my collarbones and drop my chin in a very subtle suggestion of Jalandhara Bandha when I'm in that space. And be in that space for as long as you comfortably can before exhaling very slowly, this morning with your awareness in the left nostril. So you can choose to seal your right nostril if you like, or just take attention to the left nostril as you exhale slowly. I'll talk us through it. If you need to readjust your seat, now is a good time to just make sure you're steady and upright. And we'll begin with an exhalation. Begin to inflate the lungs now with little sips of air through the nose. When you sense that you are absolutely at capacity, you might lift the heart, seal the tongue and swallow and drop the chin. And as you pause here, encourage the lower rib cage to soften, the belly to swell. There might be a little bit of mild discomfort, that's okay. But when you feel like you absolutely need to, bring your awareness to the left nostril or seal the right nostril and exhale slowly with control. Then begin your next round with several small sips of air through the nostrils. When you sense that you are at capacity and completely full, let the collarbones lift, check the tongue, swallow, seal the tongue there as you drop the chin. Let the belly and the rib cage soften and expand. And when you feel it's time in your experience, bring attention to the left nostril as you exhale slowly, bringing the head and neck back to neutral along the wave of that exhale. And take your next round, little sips of air. When you feel that you are full, check the tongue, lift the collarbones, swallow, and drop the chin gently. As you expand the belly and the rib cage, you might notice any fascial tug around the walls of your kumbha, your container, maybe at the floor of that container in the pelvic floor. When you're ready, lifting the chin as you exhale slowly through the left nostril. And begin your next round. Little sips of air. Topping up your internal container. And when that container is full, seal the lid with the tongue, the swallow, the lifting of the chest and the dropping gently down of the chin. And then explore the inside of that pot. Taking your exhale slowly with attention in the left nostril as you bring the head and neck back to neutral. And taking one more round of that sequence. Little sips of air. Gradually filling your internal container. And when it is full, seal the tongue and swallow. The collarbones float as the chin descends. And then let the attention rest within that internal space. And when it is time, exhale slowly with attention in the left nostril as the head and neck return to neutral position. And now nothing. Just rest. You might notice a few extra churnings and gurglings bubbling up from your internal landscape. This is just vata dosha settling. Checking your tongue position and dropping back down into your ujjayi technique. Re-establishing a calm, smooth, even movement of the inhale and the exhale. And re-establishing your samavritti 1. Come back into the count that you had previously established. Allow your mind to become anchored in the count. And notice perhaps if you are able to stretch your breath count out by just 1 or 2 counts without straining. In a moment, we will introduce a pause after the exhalation as we explore the empty pot. There will be no counting here, just passion or dispassionate observation. At the end of your next exhale, take a pause and allow yourself to be empty. The body will begin to signal you to inhale as the rising CO2 in your blood is detected. Can you just be in this space of moderate discomfort before taking your next calm ujjayi inhale, followed by a calm ujjayi exhale, and then pause. Exploring the empty pot. The familiar sensation of oxygen hunger will begin to rise. Can you remain calm? Allow yourself to feel a little bit uncomfortable. And when you sense it is time, take a calm ujjayi inhale, a calm ujjayi exhale. And remain with this pattern. Exploring the empty container at the end of the exhale for as long as you can. Keeping the face relaxed. knowing that you are safe to be in that space of emptiness. At the end of your next exhalation, let go of that pattern. Take 2 or 3 rounds of your reset breath, re-inflating the alveoli, re-establishing and bolstering the internal walls of your personal container. Allow your breath to return to its natural quiet state once you've taken enough rounds of your reset. And when you feel you are ready, please make your way onto your back for your Shavasana. This morning, as you arrive on your back, can you encourage as much of your back rib cage and your shoulder blades to be on the floor as possible? You might even enlist the help of a folded blanket underneath the back of the rib cage to just offer a little bit of support. This morning, as we settle into our Shavasana, we will be layering it with our BRAHMARI pranayama. Settling into your BRAHMARI when you are ready. As you exhale, exhaling with sound. This morning, with special awareness at the back of the rib cage where it contacts the earth. And allow the vibration of your exhalation to penetrate and radiate through the back of the rib cage. No tension or strain. The humming sound does not need to be loud, just intentional. Please settle here in your Shavasana with your BRAHMARI pranayama and wait for the sound of my voice to summon you back. letting go of your Brahmari, but remain here, bathing and resting in the resonance of your practice. Allow your breath to deepen slightly. And invite some gentle movements of your fingers and your toes. Rotating into your wrists and ankles. And taking whatever movements make sense in your body next. Maybe a lovely yawn and a stretch. Perhaps hugging the knees to the chest. Take your time, please, to very carefully curl your way into an upright seat. And as you arrive in your seat, remaining just for now with your eyes closed, noticing how you have arrived here at the end of your practice, at the beginning of your day. Floating your palms to meet one another in front of your heart, or maybe just landing one hand on your chest and the other against your belly. As we punctuate the end of our session with gratitude and acknowledgement, extending our thanks for the gift of this day, our lives and our health, and extending our respects and acknowledgements to one another and to the custodians of this living tradition. As always, my very sincere respect, affection, and gratitude to you all. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Enjoy the autumn descent, my lovelies. If you've got any questions, please reach out to me. Massive quantities of love. Okay, bye.